Sarah Imenu is not saying she didn't laugh. She's saying, tzachakti, I laughed. Not because I don't believe that God could do it. That's the same thing that God says. Hayipaleh me Hashem davar? Is it too hard for God to do? Sarah says, I'm not laughing because I thought it was too hard for you to do, God. Tzachakti ki yarea. I'm laughing because my midah is not the midah of chesed. It's the midah of justice, of judgment. A person who lives with chesed lives with the love of God. A person who lives with justice lives with what? With fear of God. Tzachakti ki yarea. I laughed because maybe I am not deserving. I couldn't believe that this is something that's going to happen to me. And Avram responds, Vayomer, lo ki tzachakt. In the end of the day, it doesn't matter why you laughed. Because God just told you, the you who doesn't think that you're worthy of it. The you that you think maybe doesn't deserve. Who was God talking to when he just made this promise? With Yaakov, time had elapsed. Yaakov might have thought that God promised this Jacob, and I'm only this Jacob now. I'm here. But God had just made the promise. To you, as you are, on the level you're at, with the mistakes that you're making, with the sins that you think that you have, Sarah, God promised this you. It doesn't matter what midah you are. Ki tzachakt. Hashem is upset because you laughed at all. Even if your laughter was not because you didn't believe or have faith in God's ability. Now we understand why God communicates the promise to Avraham and not to Sarah. When I give you something, a matana, a present, I can't give you a present against your will. If I give it to you, the only way I can make sure that you get the present I'm trying to give you is if you receive it. Hashem knew that promising Sarah this gift would result in her rejecting it. Not because she doesn't want it, but because she feels unworthy of it. So what does God do? He gives the gift to Avraham, to then go tell Avram, who Avram's like, obviously, the God that loves me, whether I'm good or not, righteous or not, is going to bless me with children, and obviously, thank you very much, I accept. Avram now goes to Sarah, and he says to Sarah, listen what we're going to get. Sarah laughs. Hashem says, how could she laugh? Is it too hard for Hashem to do it? You'll see. I'm going to come next year, and you're going to have a child. Why doesn't God punish her for not believing? If she didn't believe, right? Why doesn't God not give it to her? Well, you don't believe it? We know a person's emunah always dictates whether they're going to get it or not. That's the genius of God. God doesn't give the promise to her. He gave the promise to Avram. And like Rambam says, when a Navi gets a promise for something that's going to happen that's bad, it might not come true, because maybe there'll be teshuvah. But when a Navi gets a promise for something that's good, God doesn't renege, even if the person no longer deserves it. And that's why God gave it to Avraham, and not to Sarah. My friends, what we're learning overall is that there is a power here to be used. It is up to each and every one of us to decide how, what, when, where, and how much. But that justice, judgment needs to flow through your veins, to be present in your home, in your life, in your choices, in the way you choose friends, in the neighborhood you live in the shul you go to. All these choices require a person to be discerning. You could have judgment without being judgmental. I don't want my daughter to be with this person. Not because I'm being judgmental, but because my higher judgment is telling me that this child who has deep psychological issues is not someone that my child could develop a healthy relationship with. She will become someone who sucks everything out of my child. I don't have any complaints against the child. I think, yes, she needs a therapist, not a friend. And knowing my child, I know that would be harmful. That's judgment without being judgmental. Seeing your son or daughter or friend or coworker or spouse struggle with something. You might not want to yell at them, talk down to them about it. That's judgmental. But to just let it go and to not use your judgment and say this is incorrect. We have to figure out a way to fix it. That's abandoning the Sarah gene in your blood and your veins. And by the way, sometimes doing nothing is part of the decision you make for how to deal with it. But you're choosing nothing. Choosing nothing is also judgment.